We have some ways to manipulate the stored data in the RDBMS. We can say that there are some categories or classes of SQL queries. We can classify these queries in different ways. So in most of the books you will find these categories. The first one is DDL, data definition language. Second one is DML, data manipulation language. Third, TCL, transaction control language. Fourth, DCL, data control language, and the last one is DQL. So actually all these consist queries, but the purpose of query or the operation of query is a bit different from each other. So these are classified according to the nature of the queries used in SQL. We will look into these one by one. First one is data definition language. In data definition language, we deal with the structure of tables. Like we can create a table, we can make some changes in the table, we can delete a table. So in data definition language, we deal with the structure of tables. Not only tables, we can also create other objects. We can create views, procedures, we can delete views and procedures too. So in data definition language, when we deal with the objects of a database, then that thing must be under DDL. All DDL commands are auto committed. Once you execute it, it will definitely save all the changes permanently in the database, and these changes would not be reverted. So here we have some queries in DDL. The first one is create, second alter, third truncate, draw, and the last one is rename. So create is used to create a new table, a new view. Even we can create a database with the help of create query. Then by using alter, we can make changes in these objects. Like if you want to rename, rename an attribute in a table, if you want to add an attribute, if you want to delete an attribute in a table, that can be done by using alter. We can update a view with the help of by using this alter key. Then we have truncate. If you want to delete all the data from a table, then for that purpose we will use truncate query. Drop query is used to delete the table itself, and the rename query is used to rename the table. Here in the slide table is mentioned, but remember these queries are not only applied on tables, these are applied on many other objects too. These objects can be functions, procedures, views, etc. Next is data manipulation language. Data manipulation language don't deal with the structure of objects. Actually it deals with the data. So here we manipulate data with the help of DML codes. By manipulation we mean that we can insert data, we can make changes in the data, we can delete some existing data. So all these are covered by DML. DML commands are not auto committed, means that if we make some changes, such changes would not be permanent. We can revert changes made by DML code. So here we have some queries lying under DML. The first one is insert. Insert is used to add a new record or a new row. Update is used to update an existing record. It can be a row in a table. Then we can delete a record in a table by using delete query. Then the last one is merge. Merge can be used to merge two rows or two tables in a database. Next, we have TCL transaction control language. These commands are used to keep a check on other commands and their effect on the database. Actually, TCL deals with the transactions, and a transaction may consist many commands, many queries in it. So the TCL also make any temporary change, and it may make a change that is temporary to permanent. That is possible. So first one is commit. This is a query. It is used to permanently change the state. We can say that once the queries are executed and after that we commit all the changes, so we will permanently make the changes in databases according to those queries. Then we have rollback. With the help of rollback, we can undo some changes. It is possible that some queries give us error. So if there is a bulk of query, let's say we have 5 queries, on query number 4 we got error, so it is advised to roll back all the queries, like either these 5 must be executed or none of these must be executed. So if 3 are executed, so these 3 must be reverted. So for that purpose we have rollback clause available, or rollback queries available under TCL. Then the last one is save point. Save point is used to temporarily save a state of the database records. Next we have data control language. Data control language is used for granting permissions or granting privileges to users. So it is possible that we may have multiple users of a single database. Usually database is accessed by many users, so we can grant these users some privileges, or we can bound these users to use some particular data and don't access the entire data. So for that purpose we have grant and revoke queries. Grant is used to grant permissions on any object to a particular user, and revoke is used to take back the granted permissions. Next we have data query language. This is very common and most frequently used. Select query is used to retrieve record from one or more tables stored in a database. Data query language is used to fetch data from tables based on conditions that we can easily apply. Actually, in select statement we have multiple keywords, we have multiple clauses which can be combined, and according to those clauses we can get data from tables in different ways, and we can apply different type of conditions so that we may get our desired data from the tables stored in a database. This is the summary of today's lecture. The first thing is SQL. So SQL is a language used for the management of relational database management systems. Then with the help of SQL we can perform various operations on our DBMS, like selecting data, inserting data, updating data from the database. And then with the help of SQL, or by using SQL, we can also perform some managerial tasks. For example, managing the users or roles in a database environment. Then we also knew that SQL is not case sensitive. However, for better readability, it is preferred to use uppercase for keywords and lowercase for the rest of the words. For example, if I'm typing a select statement, then the select would be in uppercase, the table name would be in lowercase, and the from clause would also be in uppercase. Then we knew that these commands can be categorized as DDL, DML, TCL, and DCL and also DQL. We also knew that in some books this DQL is a part of DDL. We will study these commands later in our coming lectures. This was all about today's lecture. In today's lecture we studied about SQL. First we checked its definition and some basic information about SQL. Then what can SQL do, what would be the possible operations performed by SQL or the capability of SQL. Then the structure of query, the basic format of a query. We also checked some examples. Then the definition of statements, clauses and keywords. We also checked these things. Then the rules for typing SQL statement. So the rule was simple, that it is not case sensitive, but for better readability use capital letters for keywords and small letters for other words. Then we studied the classification or the ways of SQL commands to be used. So we can use SQL commands for many purposes. We have DDL, DML, TCL, DCL and DQL. In coming lectures we will study about these classes or these ways of SQL commands in details. We will practice all these in Workbench. So I'm hopeful that you will study all these by yourselves and do practice the code in MySQL Workbench or MS SQL Server. If you have any question, you can put your question in the comments. Inshallah, I will reply you whenever I get any comment. So for today, this was enough. Best of luck and thank you.